Hello and welcome to another video. This time I'm going to show you how I make this square. This is a 12-inch version of the square, and I have added 3 rounds of single crochet for the edging. This one is 6.75 inches from side to side. The edges are 6.75 inches. This square is worked in one triangle at a time. So the foundation chain is a specified number of chains right here, and then each row is worked as a decreasing row, decreasing along the edge. Then after that triangle is finished, we rotate and start a new row, and then decrease until we get up to this point here, and then rotate, work another triangle, rotate, and work the last triangle. And while we work the last triangle, we join each row to the appropriate row or stitch in the first triangle, and then we make an edging round. The yarn I'm using for this project is cotton, 100% cotton, medium weight number 4, and the brand is Lily Sugar and Cream, and I'm using 2 colors, and the light blue color is cornflower. And the other color is white. I'm also using a Tunisian crochet hook. This one just happens to be a double-ended crochet hook, but you don't need a double-ended one. This one is 10 inches long, and it's 6.5 millimeter. And this is the brand name. It's a Susan Bates. I bought this on Amazon. There you can see the 6.5 millimeter measurement. You'll also need the yarn needle and a pair of scissors. I'm starting with the blue, with a slip knot on the hook, and for this small square I'm going to chain 14. 2, 3, 4, etc. Please be mindful to keep your chains rather loose because you're going to be working into them later. Alright, I have 14 chains. You always want to start with an even number of chains for this project, and the 12-inch square I started with 26 chains, but this one is 14 chains. Then work on the back bump, insert, yarn over, pull up a loop. Insert, yarn over, pull up a loop, all the way to the other edge. Alright, I have finished the forward pass of row 1. I should have 14 loops on my hook. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. The return pass is done in the same color. Yarn over, pull through 1 loop. You've just made a chain. The rest of the row you yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And please note how I made that pull through rather wide. You're going to need wide stitches to keep this project from looking warped. Also, you need those wide stitches because you're going to work into them on the next row. Continue working off 2 at a time until you have 3 loops remaining on the hook. And this is where we're going to decrease along the outer edge. And this is also where we introduce the white yarn, or whatever contrasting color you want to use. Yarn over with the new color and pull through. And now we're going to be working with the new color, so I'm going to take the original color, blue, and move it off to the back and side and continue working with the white. Please take a notice. This strand right here is the edge stitch, and because we decreased, it's a slanting bar. This is the first vertical bar, and these two have become joined together because we did a decrease. This is a horizontal bar. We're going to ignore that. This vertical bar and this horizontal bar are what we're aiming for next. So we insert in that vertical bar and the horizontal bar, yarn over, and pull up a loop. And same thing in the next stitch, and every stitch back to the other edge. I have pulled up loops in all the stitches except the edge stitch over here, and we need to work under those 2 strands on the edge stitch. So I will insert my hook under them, yarn over, pull up a loop, then chain 1 to make the edge, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops all the way back. And keep in mind, when you make this first stitch, you're kind of turning a pivot point. So make sure that you leave a wide stitch there. And all of the other return pass stitches are also wide. They're probably going to seem much more exaggerated than what you are accustomed to doing with Tunisian crochet. However, as I said, to get the square proportions correct, this is important, as well as the fact that you're going to be working into those horizontal strands, and you need plenty of room for that. I now have 3 loops left on my hook. So I pick up the blue again. Got a mess back here. Put the white over to the side, pick up the blue, yarn over. Whoops, I have 4 loops left on my hook. 1 more. Now I have 3 loops. Put the white to the side. Yarn over with the blue and pull through all 3 loops. So I have decreased on row 1 in the blue and row 2 in the white. Blue is on my hook. I'm ready to start row 3. Don't work into these 2 strands or this horizontal strand. Start with the next horizontal or vertical bar and horizontal bar. Yarn over, pull up a loop. All right, I have worked more rows, and you can see that they're getting shorter each time. I'm getting close to the point. The next vertical bar is right there. Insert, and then insert in the horizontal bar next to it. And by the way, I'm working with white now, so I'm trying to get that blue out of the way. Yarn over, pull up a loop, and in the chain on the edge, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, chain 1. I have 3 loops left on my hook, so I put the white to the side, pick up the blue, yarn over and pull through all 3. Now I don't have any vertical bars left. All I have is the edge stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, chain 1. So I've got a chain 1 and only one other loop on the hook. So I'm using the white to do my last yarn over and pull through. Let's count these rows. We count the V's along the outer edge, the ones that are decreases. And the first row is blue. Don't count this bump here because that is the foundation chain. Start with the slanting V. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. This is correct because we decrease 1 on every row. We started with a chain of 14. We want an odd number of rows so that the colors will alternate with each other on each row. The first row is blue. The last row, which is only 1 stitch, is also blue. Now we rotate the piece, and we are going to be working with white, and we need to pull up a loop in every row along that edge. So don't miss the first one. The first one is the blue row. Kind of hard to see it, but you need to get it under 2 loops of the V, 2 strands of the V. So put the white back on, insert under the 2 strands of the blue chain, yarn over and pull up a loop. That is the most difficult part of this whole pattern. Then in each chain or row along the edge, pull up another loop. And this is important right here. There are 2 holes right there. One of them is the foundation chain, and the other one is the end of the row chain. We want to work into the end of the row chain, not into the foundation chain. Now we need to count. We should have 14 loops on the hook. We started with a chain of 14 with the first row of the first triangle, and we need the same number of loops for the first row of the second triangle. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Perfect. And this is worked just the same. Yarn over, chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2 with wide stitches until there are 3 loops left on the hook. I have 3 loops left on the hook. Put the white to the back, pull up the blue, yarn over with the blue, and I have now finished row 1. Please note that the end of triangle 1 ends with blue. The end of the row of the first row of triangle 2 ends with white. So you've got 2 colors on the point of the triangle. Alright, I have worked all but the last stitch of the forward pass of row 2, and I just want to point out right here is the chain from the edge of row 1. That is where you insert and pull up a loop. Again, don't work into the foundation chain. Chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2. Alright, I'm almost finished with triangle 2. We started with white for triangle 2, and the last row is also white, and there are no more vertical bars to work. So we work into the edge chain stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, chain 1, and then yarn over with the other color, blue. And we turn it clockwise or counterclockwise depending on your dominant hand, and we need to pull up loops in all of these edge stitches. So as we did before, make sure you don't miss the first one here, which is the white one. Insert, yarn over, pull up a loop. Let's do that again. Insert, yarn over, pull up a loop, and in every stitch along this edge. And when you get back here, remember, don't work into the foundation chain. Okay, as you can see, I have now completed 3 out of the 4 triangles, and I'll show you how to work the 4th triangle. Also note this: row 1 of triangle 1 is blue, row 1 of triangle 2 is white, row 1 of triangle 3 is blue again, and row 1 of the last triangle is going back to white. So they alternate colors. So insert, I pulled that chain a little too tight. I need to kind of pull it open again so I can get my hook in there. go. Now I have 14 loops on my hook. And we are going to join to the first triangle. So into that foundation chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, and now I have 15 loops on the hook, which is exactly right for the fourth triangle. And this time I do not chain one. I pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops in the first stitch and all the way back to the other edge until there are 3 loops on the hook, and then we use the next color to yarn over and pull through. I'm yarning over and pulling through the last 3 loops with the next color. So I have now completed row 1 of triangle 4, and I have joined it to triangle 1. Let's do the next row. Okay, I've worked most of the stitches on the forward pass of row 2, triangle 4. There are still 2 more. And we will also insert into the next edge stitch of triangle 1. And yarn over and pull through 2 all the way back. Alright, I have worked the last triangle, all except the last row of the last triangle. And this is where I joined the 2 triangles together on each row. And I'll show you how to work the last bit. You know what? I just realized I should have used white for the last yarn over there. There we go. And get blue out of the way. Continue working with white. Insert under the vertical and the horizontal. Yarn over, pull up a loop. And we only have 1 hole left, so we yarn over, insert the hook, but you know what, this time we're going to yarn over with blue and pull that blue through both of those white strands, and that is the last stitch. Now let's make sure we did that right. Each triangle has 13 rows. The first color of triangle 4 is white, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's the 13th row, same color as the first row. Now, into the first stitch of the first triangle, we're going to do a slip stitch. Okay? Now, we have an edging to work all around the triangle. And let me explain. Each of these triangles is what's called a right triangle because this angle right here, is a 90-degree angle. And so we've got what's called a right triangle. Now, this edge of the triangle is called the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse of a right triangle is always longer than either of the 2 other sides of the triangle. So we're going to have to adjust our stitch count as we work the edging stitches. We're going to have to make more stitches than there are rows. So here's how we're going to do that. Okay, first of all, I'm going to cut the white yarn because I don't need that anymore. And with the blue, chain 1. And this does not count as a stitch. So what we're going to do is in the first stitch, which is the same one we joined in, work 2 single crochet stitches. In the next, work 1. In the next, work 2. In the next, work 1. So what we're going to do on this side is 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and we're going to end with 2 stitches in this last stitch. So I have worked 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, etc. until the last stitch, in which I worked 2 single crochet stitches. Then to form the corner, I'm going to chain 2 and pivot the square and start working on the next side. And the colors start with white, blue, so don't go by color to know which stitch gets the 2 single crochet. Go by position. So the first stitch gets 2 single crochet stitches, and then 1 in the next, and continue on around the square in that fashion. Okay, I have now worked a single crochet around all the way around the square, and I'm ready to finish, and I'll show you what I do. On all the corners I have worked 2 chains between the sets of 2 single crochets at the beginning and ending of each corner. On this last one, I'm only going to work 1 chain and then a slip stitch to join with the first single crochet. And the reason I do that is because that slip stitch kind of acts like a second chain. If I put another chain in there, it's going to be too much of a gap. Then fasten off and weave in all the ends. As an added bonus, if you would like to add a pretty scalloped edging to make this into a doily or dishcloth or large coaster, I'll show you how to do that. For the scalloped edging, I use a smaller hook. It just seems to work out better. So I start in any corner, pull up a loop of white, chain 2, half double crochet in the same corner space, skip 1 stitch, skip 1 stitch and slip stitch in the next. Chain 2, half double crochet in the same stitch, skip 1 stitch, slip stitch in the next. chain 2, half double crochet, same stitch, skip 1 stitch, slip stitch in the next. Okay, I'm at the last scallop of this side, skip 1 stitch, slip stitch in the next, chain 2, half double crochet in the same stitch, and then we come to the corner, chain 2 space, slip stitch in there, chain 2, half double crochet, slip stitch in the same space, chain 2, half double crochet in the same space, skip 1 stitch, which is that one, and slip stitch in the next, and then continue on around. So each corner has 2 scallops in it. Okay, I have done all 4 sides. I'm almost finished with the last side, and let me show you here. This is the last stitch of the last side, slip stitch, chain 2, half double crochet in the same stitch, and we've already got our first scallop in that corner, so we're going to put 1 more in there. So slip stitch, chain 2, half double crochet, and we will join to the first stitch down here. And I prefer a needle join in this case. You can do a slip stitch if you want, but I prefer a needle join. So I cut the yarn, get my yarn needle, pull the yarn out of the stitch, thread the yarn into the needle, and I'm holding the other tail so that it kind of has some tension on it, and I am putting the needle, in the first chain, in the 2 front strands of the first chain. Then back into the same strand, or the same loop where the strand is coming out of, and on the back I'm going to go under that loop also. It's right there on the back of the last stitch. And then I tie the 2 strands in a gentle knot, and then tie them once again in a snug knot, and then weave in the ends. So there you have the back of the finished square, other than stitching in those ends. And here's the front of a finished one. They make a nice duo for a gift set. These would make lovely dishcloths or large coasters, kitchen doilies. I just think they're mighty pretty. Thank you for watching.